The Guerilla CEO. Unconventional Strategies for Disruptive Leadership. Written and published by the Zillion Pro. Chapter 1. Ditching the Playbook. Why traditional leadership fails in a disruptive world. For decades, business leadership has been governed by a set of seemingly immutable rules. The well-worn playbook, filled with strategic frameworks, hierarchical structures, and predictable growth models, offered a sense of order and control. Leaders were groomed to manage, to optimize within established systems, and to follow the proven paths to success. But the ground beneath our feet has shifted dramatically. We live in an era of unprecedented change, where technology evolves at warp speed, consumer expectations are fluid, and entire industries can be upended overnight. In this dynamic landscape, clinging to the old playbook is not just ineffective, it's a recipe for obsolescence. This chapter serves as a wake-up call. It's an exploration of why the traditional tenets of leadership, while perhaps relevant in a more stable past, are increasingly ill-equipped to navigate the complexities and opportunities of today's disruptive world. We will dissect the limitations of conventional approaches and lay the foundation for a new paradigm, the mindset of the Guerilla CEO. The illusion of control in a chaotic world. The traditional leadership model often emphasizes control. Centralized decision-making, rigid organizational charts, and meticulous planning are seen as hallmarks of effective management. However, the very nature of disruption is its unpredictability. Black swan events, unforeseen technological leaps, and sudden shifts in market sentiment can render even the most meticulously crafted plans irrelevant in an instant. Think of the once dominant giants who failed to adapt to disruptive forces: Kodak and the digital camera, Blockbuster and streaming video, Nokia and the smartphone revolution. These weren't necessarily failures of execution within their existing frameworks. They were failures to recognize and respond effectively to fundamental shifts in the landscape. Their adherence to the playbook of their time blinded them to the emerging threats and opportunities that ultimately led to their decline. The Guerilla CEO understands that true control in a disruptive world is an illusion. Instead of striving for rigid command, they embrace agility and adaptability. They build organizations that can pivot quickly, experiment fearlessly, and learn from both successes and failures. They understand that navigating chaos requires a different kind of leadership, one that thrives on uncertainty rather than fearing it. The limitations of linear thinking. Traditional strategic planning often follows a linear path: analyze the past, extrapolate into the future, and develop a step-by-step plan to achieve defined goals. This approach works well in stable environments where the future is largely a predictable extension of the present. However, disruption is inherently nonlinear. It introduces unexpected variables, creates entirely new markets, and renders existing assumptions obsolete. Consider the rise of the sharing economy. Traditional players in transportation and hospitality struggle to comprehend the rapid adoption of platforms like Uber and Airbnb, which defied conventional business models. Their linear thinking, focused on owning assets and managing traditional supply chains, prevented them from seeing the potential of decentralized networks and peer-to-peer interactions. The Guerilla CEO rejects the constraints of linear thinking. They embrace a more holistic and dynamic perspective, constantly scanning the horizon for emerging trends and potential disruptions. They are comfortable with ambiguity and are skilled at connecting seemingly disparate dots to identify unconventional opportunities. Their strategic thinking is more akin to navigating a complex ecosystem than following a straight road. The tyranny of the status quo. Established organizations often become entrenched in their existing processes, products, and market positions. The fear of cannibalizing existing revenue streams or disrupting established workflows can stifle innovation and prevent them from embracing necessary change. This adherence to the status quo, while seemingly safe in the short term, creates a vulnerability to disruptive forces that are not bound by the same constraints. Think of the early resistance to electric vehicles within the traditional automotive industry. The massive investment in internal combustion engine technology, the established supply chains, and the ingrained consumer preferences created a powerful inertia. This reluctance to embrace a disruptive technology ultimately allowed newcomers like Tesla to gain a significant foothold in the market. The Guerilla CEO actively challenges the status quo. They foster a culture of experimentation and encourage their teams to question conventional wisdom. They understand that complacency is the enemy of progress and that continuous disruption, even of their own successes, is essential for long-term survival and growth. The need for a new breed of leader. The challenges of a disruptive world demand a new kind of leader, one who is comfortable with ambiguity, embraces risk, and can inspire their teams to navigate uncharted territory. The traditional image of the CEO as a detached strategist operating from an ivory tower is no longer viable. The Guerilla CEO is agile, adaptable, and deeply connected to the realities of their market and their team. This book is not about abandoning all established principles of good management. Rather, it's about re-evaluating those principles in the context of disruption and embracing a new set of unconventional strategies. It's about developing the mindset and the tactics necessary to not just survive, but to thrive in a world where the only constant is change. The era of predictable growth and stable markets is over. The future belongs to those who dare to ditch the old playbook and embrace the unconventional. Join us as we explore the mindset and the methods of the Guerilla CEO, the leader who thrives in the face of disruption and turns limitations into their greatest strength. It's time to rewrite the rules of leadership for a new era. Chapter 2. Embracing the underdog mentality. Turning limitations into advantages. In the realm of traditional business, resources often equate to power. The behemoths, with their deep pockets, established infrastructure, and brand recognition, seem to possess an inherent advantage. The conventional wisdom dictates that to compete, you need to play on their terms, often leading smaller players to feel like underdogs in a David and Goliath battle. But the Guerilla CEO understands that this perceived disadvantage can be a potent weapon in disguise. Embracing the underdog mentality isn't about accepting defeat, it's about recognizing your limitations, understanding their inherent flexibility, and strategically leveraging them to outmaneuver the seemingly invincible. The agility advantage. Dancing while the giants slumber. Large, established organizations often suffer from inertia. Their complex structures, bureaucratic processes, and the sheer weight of their existing operations make them slow to adapt to change. Like a large ship turning in a narrow channel, they require significant time and effort to alter course. This is where the underdog's agility becomes a critical advantage. Without the legacy systems and ingrained habits of larger players, smaller, resource-constrained entities can be incredibly nimble. They can make decisions quickly, pivot strategies on a dime, and experiment with novel approaches without the fear of disrupting massive existing operations. This agility allows them to capitalize on emerging opportunities and react swiftly to market shifts that leave their larger competitors struggling to catch up. Think of a small, lean startup entering a market dominated by established players. They don't have the budget for massive marketing campaigns, but they can leverage social media and viral marketing tactics with far greater speed and flexibility. They can iterate on their product based on real-time user feedback without the lengthy approval processes that often plague larger organizations. This inherent agility allows them to dance around the lumbering giants, finding gaps and exploiting weaknesses that their competitors are too slow or too rigid to address. The creativity catalyst. Necessity is the mother of invention. Limited resources can often be a powerful catalyst for creativity and innovation. When you don't have the budget to throw money at every problem, you are forced to find smarter, more resourceful solutions. This constraint can spark unconventional thinking and lead to breakthroughs that might never have occurred with unlimited resources. Consider companies that have disrupted entire industries with ingenious, low-cost solutions. Think of early open-source software movements that challenged proprietary giants with collaborative, community-driven development. Or consider the rise of frugal innovation in developing countries, where entrepreneurs create affordable solutions to address pressing needs. These examples demonstrate how limitations can force a focus on ingenuity and resourcefulness, leading to truly disruptive innovations. The Guerilla CEO understands that constraints are not necessarily hindrances, they are design parameters. They foster a culture where resourcefulness is celebrated, and teams are encouraged to find innovative solutions within tight boundaries. This mindset often leads to more efficient processes, more creative marketing strategies, and ultimately, more impactful innovations. The underestimation advantage. Flying under the radar. Being perceived as the underdog can also be a strategic advantage. When your larger competitors don't see you as a significant threat, they may not dedicate the same level of attention or resources to countering your moves. This allows you to operate with a degree of stealth, experiment with unconventional tactics, and gain traction before they even realize the potential of your disruption. Think of a smaller company quietly building a loyal customer base through exceptional service or a niche product offering. While the larger players are focused on mass markets and broad appeal, the underdog can cultivate deep relationships and build a strong foundation before attracting unwanted attention. By the time the giants take notice, the underdog may have already established a significant foothold. The Guerilla CEO understands the power of flying under the radar. They don't necessarily seek immediate confrontation with larger competitors. Instead, they focus on building strength in targeted areas, exploiting blind spots, and creating a loyal following before making bolder moves. This strategic underestimation can be a powerful tool for gaining market share and ultimately disrupting the status quo. Cultivating the underdog mindset. Embracing the underdog mentality is not about wallowing in self-pity or accepting a position of weakness. It's a proactive and strategic choice that requires a shift in perspective and a cultivation of specific traits, resourcefulness. A relentless focus on finding creative and cost-effective solutions. Agility. The ability to adapt quickly and pivot strategies without significant overhead. Innovation. A drive to find unconventional approaches and challenge established norms. Grit and perseverance. The determination to overcome obstacles and keep pushing forward despite limited resources. Customer focus. A deep understanding of customer needs and a commitment to delivering exceptional value, often as a way to differentiate from larger, more impersonal competitors. The Guerilla CEO actively fosters these traits within their organization. They celebrate resourcefulness, encourage experimentation, and build a culture where limitations are seen as opportunities for innovation. They understand that the underdog spirit, when harnessed effectively, can be a far more potent force than sheer size or financial might. You don't need to be the biggest player to win the game of disruption. In fact, often the opposite is true. By embracing the underdog mentality, by recognizing the inherent advantages in your limitations, you can cultivate the agility, creativity, and strategic stealth necessary to outmaneuver even the most formidable competitors. It's time to stop viewing your constraints as weaknesses and start harnessing them as the powerful tools they can be. What are your limitations? How can you transform them into your unique advantage? The journey to becoming a Guerilla CEO starts with embracing the power of the underdog within. Chapter 3. The Art of Calculated Chaos. Strategically disrupting the status quo. Disruption, by its very nature, introduces an element of chaos. It upsets established norms, challenges existing power structures, and creates uncertainty. While traditional leaders often strive to maintain order and predictability, the Guerilla CEO understands that sometimes, the most effective strategy is to be the agent of that chaos, but with a crucial distinction: it must be calculated. Let's explore the art of strategically disrupting the status quo, not for the sake of mere turbulence, but with a clear objective and a well thought out plan. It's about understanding when, where, and how to introduce controlled disruption to gain a competitive edge, create new opportunities, and ultimately, lead your organization to a position of dominance. Beyond random acts. The intentionality of guerrilla disruption. The key differentiator between destructive chaos and strategic disruption lies in intent. Random acts of rebellion or impulsive decisions can be damaging and counterproductive. Calculated chaos, on the other hand, is a deliberate and purposeful strategy aimed at achieving specific goals. It's about identifying vulnerabilities in the existing landscape, understanding the potential impact of your actions, and carefully orchestrating a disruption that benefits your organization. Think of a startup that enters a mature market with a radically different pricing model. This isn't just a random price cut, it's a calculated move to undermine the profitability of established players and attract price-sensitive customers. Or consider a company that launches a controversial marketing campaign designed to spark conversation and challenge industry conventions. This isn't just about seeking attention. It's a strategic attempt to differentiate their brand and resonate with a specific target audience. The Guerilla CEO approaches disruption with the precision of a surgeon, not the recklessness of a demolition crew. They understand the potential risks and rewards involved and carefully weigh the consequences of their actions. Their chaos is not an end in itself, but a means to a clearly defined strategic objective. Identifying the pressure points. Where to introduce disruption. Strategic disruption requires a keen understanding of the existing ecosystem. Where are the points of weakness? Where are the areas ripe for change? Where are the incumbents complacent or vulnerable? Identifying these pressure points is crucial for targeting your disruptive efforts effectively. These pressure points can exist in various aspects of the business landscape. Business models. Are existing models inefficient, outdated, or failing to meet customer needs? Pricing structures. Are current pricing strategies opaque, unfair, or leaving room for a more transparent or value-driven approach? Customer experience. Are customers underserved, frustrated, or longing for a better way? Technology adoption. Are incumbents slow to adopt new technologies that could create significant advantages? Distribution channels. Are existing channels inefficient, costly, or failing to reach specific customer segments? Marketing and communication. Are traditional marketing approaches stale, ineffective, or failing to connect with modern audiences? The Guerilla CEO is a keen observer of these pressure points. They analyze the market, listen to customer frustrations, and identify areas where a well-placed disruption can create significant leverage. The tactics of calculated chaos. Once the pressure points are identified, the Guerilla CEO employs a range of tactics to strategically introduce disruption, the unexpected offering. Launching a product or service that fundamentally challenges the existing norms and expectations of the market. Think of Dollar Shave Club disrupting the razor industry with a subscription model. The radical transparency play. Openly sharing information that incumbents typically keep secret, building trust and empowering customers. Think of companies that openly publish their pricing or sourcing practices. The guerrilla marketing strike. Employing unconventional, low-cost marketing tactics that grab attention and generate buzz, often in unexpected places. The ecosystem gambit. Creating a platform or network that connects disparate players and fundamentally alters the value chain. Think of Amazon's marketplace model. The internal shakeup. Intentionally disrupting internal processes, structures, or even the company culture to foster innovation and break down silos. This can involve implementing agile methodologies or encouraging cross-functional collaboration in unexpected ways. The strategic alliance. Forming unconventional partnerships that create new value propositions and disrupt existing competitive dynamics. Each of these tactics involves introducing an element of surprise and challenging the established order. However, they are not implemented haphazardly. They are carefully considered, planned, and executed with a clear understanding of the desired outcome. Managing the ripple effects. Navigating the consequences of disruption. Introducing chaos. Even calculated chaos inevitably creates ripple effects. It can provoke reactions from competitors, confuse customers, and even create internal resistance. The Guerilla CEO must be prepared to manage these consequences effectively. This involves clear communication, explaining the rationale behind the disruptive actions to both internal teams and external stakeholders, anticipating reactions, foreseeing how competitors in the market might respond and developing contingency plans. Maintaining focus. Staying true to the strategic objectives despite the turbulence created by the disruption. Adapting and iterating. Being prepared to adjust the disruptive strategy based on the feedback and reactions received. The Guerilla CEO understands that disruption is not a one-time event but an ongoing process of challenging the status quo and adapting to the evolving landscape. The world rarely rewards those who simply maintain the status quo. True leadership in a disruptive era requires the courage to challenge conventions, to introduce calculated chaos, and to guide your organization through the resulting turbulence towards a new and advantageous position. The art of strategic disruption is not about creating random explosions. It's about carefully planting the seeds of change that will ultimately reshape the landscape to your advantage. Are you ready to wield the power of calculated chaos? Chapter 4. Ruthless prioritization. Focusing on the few that matter. In the whirlwind of opportunities and challenges that define the disruptive landscape, the temptation to do everything, to chase every promising lead, and to address every perceived need can be overwhelming. Traditional management often emphasizes comprehensive strategies and broad market reach. However, the Guerilla CEO understands that in a resource-constrained environment, and even in one of abundance, diffused effort leads to diluted impact. The myth of multitasking and the power of singular focus. The modern business world often glorifies multitasking and the ability to juggle multiple projects simultaneously. However, cognitive science reveals that true multitasking is a myth. What we perceive as multitasking is actually rapid task switching, which leads to decreased efficiency, increased errors, and a diminished ability to deeply engage with any single task. The Guerilla CEO recognizes the power of singular focus. By ruthlessly prioritizing and concentrating their attention and their team's efforts on a limited number of key objectives, they can achieve far greater momentum and impact. This laser-like focus allows for deeper analysis, more creative problem solving, and more effective execution. It's about channeling all available energy into a few critical areas to create breakthroughs, rather than spreading it thinly across a multitude of less impactful activities. Think of a startup that initially tries to cater to a broad market with a wide range of features, only to find itself struggling to gain traction anywhere. Now contrast that with a startup that identifies a specific niche and focuses relentlessly on solving a key problem for that audience. The latter, through its intense focus, is far more likely to build a strong product, gain loyal customers, and ultimately disrupt the broader market. Identifying the vital few, the Pareto principle in action. The Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, suggests that roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. The Guerilla CEO applies this principle rigorously to their decision making. They understand that not all opportunities are created equal, and not all tasks contribute equally to their strategic goals. Ruthless prioritization involves identifying that critical 20%, the initiatives, customers, products, or activities that generate the most significant impact. This requires a deep understanding of your business, your market, and your strategic objectives. It involves asking tough questions. Which customers are the most valuable and have the highest growth potential? Which products or services generate the most profit and align best with our long-term vision? Which marketing channels deliver the highest return on investment? Which internal processes have the biggest bottlenecks and offer the greatest opportunity for improvement? Which strategic initiatives will have the most significant disruptive impact on the market? By focusing on these vital few, the Guerilla CEO can maximize their limited resources and achieve disproportionate results. The art of saying no. Protecting your focus. Ruthless prioritization inherently involves the difficult but essential skill of saying no. This means declining opportunities that don't align with your core priorities, deferring projects that are not critical, and even discontinuing activities that are not delivering significant value. Saying no can be challenging, especially when faced with seemingly attractive opportunities or the fear of missing out. However, the Guerilla CEO understands that every yes to a non-priority is a no to a critical one. Spreading resources too thin dilutes your focus and reduces your chances of achieving meaningful breakthroughs in the areas that truly matter. Developing the discipline of saying no requires clarity of vision, a deep understanding of your long-term goals and strategic priorities. Courage, the willingness to decline opportunities that may seem appealing in the short term but distract from your core objectives. Effective communication, clearly articulating the reasons behind your decisions to stakeholders. Trust in your priorities. Confidence that focusing on the vital few will ultimately yield the greatest rewards. Practical strategies for ruthless prioritization. Implementing ruthless prioritization requires a systematic approach. Here are some practical strategies. Define your North Star. Clearly articulate your overarching vision and strategic goals. This serves as your compass for evaluating potential opportunities. Identify key performance indicators, KPIs. Determine the metrics that truly measure your progress towards your strategic goals. Focus your efforts on activities that directly impact these KPIs. Use prioritization frameworks. Employ tools like the Eisenhower matrix, urgent important, the Rice scoring system, reach, impact, confidence, effort, or simple weighted scoring to evaluate and rank potential initiatives. Regularly review and re-evaluate. The business landscape is constantly evolving. Regularly revisit your priorities and be willing to adjust based on new information and changing circumstances. Communicate your priorities clearly. Ensure that your team understands the core priorities and why certain initiatives are being focused on while others are being deferred or declined. Protect your time and your team's time. Be vigilant about distractions and ensure that your time and your team's time are allocated to the most important tasks. The long-term benefits of focused execution. Ruthless prioritization is not just about short-term efficiency, it's about building a sustainable competitive advantage. By focusing your resources on the vital few, you can achieve deeper expertise. Concentrating on specific areas allows you to develop deep knowledge and capabilities that are difficult for competitors to replicate. Build stronger momentum. Focused effort leads to faster progress and creates a positive feedback loop. Increase innovation. By dedicating resources to key areas, you are more likely to achieve breakthrough innovations. Attract and retain top talent. High-performing individuals want to work on impactful projects where their contributions truly matter. Maximize return on investment. By focusing on the activities that generate the most significant results, you ensure that your resources are used effectively. In a world clamoring for your attention and offering a multitude of paths, the Guerilla CEO understands the profound power of saying no to the good in order to say yes to the truly great. Ruthless prioritization is not about being narrow-minded, it's about being strategically focused. By identifying the vital few and concentrating your energy with unwavering determination, you can cut through the noise, achieve extraordinary results, and ultimately, disrupt the status quo with singular and impactful force. What are the few things that truly matter for your organization? Are you willing to make the tough choices to focus on them relentlessly? Chapter 5. Cultivating Unconventional Thinking. Breaking free from industry norms. The gravitational pull of industry norms is strong. Established practices, accepted wisdom, and the way things have always been done can create invisible boundaries that limit creativity and stifle innovation. Traditional leadership often operates within these boundaries, seeking incremental improvements and optimizing existing models. However, the Guerilla CEO understands that true disruption often lies outside these self-imposed limitations. The trap of best practices. When conformity kills innovation. While best practices can provide a valuable foundation of knowledge and efficiency, blindly adhering to them can also be a significant impediment to innovation. What was once considered the best way might become outdated or irrelevant in a rapidly changing landscape. Following the well-trodden path often leads to incremental improvements at best, and at worst, leaves you vulnerable to disruptors who are not bound by the same conventions. Think of industries that remained stagnant for decades, clinging to established business models and practices, only to be suddenly upended by newcomers who dared to challenge the status quo. The taxi industry, with its rigid fare structures and licensing systems, was ripe for disruption by ride-sharing services that reimagined the entire concept of personal transportation. The Guerilla CEO recognizes that while understanding industry norms is important, slavishly following them is a recipe for stagnation. Challenging fundamental assumptions. The power of why not. Unconventional thinking often begins with questioning the fundamental assumptions that underpin your industry or your business. Why do things have to be this way? What if we approach this problem from a completely different angle? What if we disregarded the accepted limitations? This requires a culture that encourages questioning, curiosity, and a healthy dose of skepticism towards established wisdom. It's about fostering an environment where why not is a legitimate and encouraged question, rather than being dismissed as naive or impractical. Consider companies that have challenged fundamental assumptions. Netflix questioned the need for physical video rental stores and embraced a subscription-based streaming model. IKEA reimagined furniture retail by focusing on flat-pack designs and customer self-assembly. Southwest Airlines challenged the traditional airline model by focusing on low fares, no frills, and point-to-point routes. These companies didn't just tweak existing models, they fundamentally questioned the underlying assumptions of their industries and created entirely new ways of doing business. Techniques for sparking unconventional ideas. Cultivating unconventional thinking is not a passive process, it requires active effort and the implementation of specific techniques. Diverse perspectives. Actively seek out and value diverse viewpoints. This includes hiring people with different backgrounds, experiences, and ways of thinking. Encourage cross-functional collaboration and create opportunities for people from different departments to interact. Lateral thinking. Employ techniques that encourage non-linear and indirect approaches to problem solving. Brainstorming sessions that deliberately explore seemingly unrelated ideas can spark unexpected connections. Scenario planning and what-if exercises. Force your team to imagine different future scenarios and consider how your business might operate in those contexts. This can help uncover hidden assumptions and potential opportunities. Provocation and inversion. Deliberately challenge existing ideas and assumptions by asking what if the opposite were true or by introducing seemingly absurd or provocative statements to stimulate new ways of thinking. Learning from outside your industry. Look for inspiration and ideas from completely different sectors. How do other industries solve similar problems? What seemingly unrelated trends could have implications for your business? Embracing failure as a learning opportunity. Create a safe space for experimentation and risk-taking. Unconventional thinking often involves trying things that might not work, and learning from those failures is crucial for future breakthroughs. Dedicated blue sky thinking time. Allocate specific time for creative exploration without the pressure of immediate results. Encourage your team to think freely and generate wild ideas, even if they seem impractical at first. Building a culture of intellectual rebellion. Cultivating unconventional thinking requires more than just implementing techniques. It demands a fundamental shift in organizational culture. This involves valuing curiosity. Encourage questioning and a thirst for knowledge. Rewarding originality. Recognize and celebrate unconventional ideas and innovative solutions, even if they don't immediately succeed. Challenging authority respectfully. Foster an environment where team members feel comfortable challenging the status quo and offering alternative perspectives, regardless of their position. Promoting intellectual risk-taking. Encourage experimentation and accept that not all new ideas will be successful. Leading by example. As a leader, actively demonstrate unconventional thinking in your own approach to problems and opportunities. The payoff of breaking the mold. The rewards of cultivating unconventional thinking can be significant. It can lead to disruptive innovation. The creation of entirely new products, services, or business models that redefine industries. Competitive differentiation. The development of unique advantages that set you apart from the competition. New market opportunities. the identification of unmet needs and the creation of entirely new markets. Increased agility and adaptability. A mindset of questioning and experimentation makes your organization more resilient to change. A more engaged and creative workforce. Employees who feel empowered to think differently are more likely to be engaged and contribute innovative ideas. The path of least resistance often leads to the same destination as everyone else. The Guerilla CEO understands that true leadership in a disruptive world requires the courage to venture off the beaten path, to challenge the accepted norms, and to cultivate a culture where unconventional thinking flourishes. By breaking free from the invisible boundaries of industry convention, you unlock the potential for truly groundbreaking innovation and position your organization to not just adapt to the future, but to actively shape it. Are you ready to unshackle your thinking and embrace the power of the unconventional? Chapter 6. The power of agility and adaptability. Thriving in uncertainty. The only constant in today's business environment is change. Technological advancements, shifting consumer behaviors, unexpected global events, the forces of disruption are relentless and often unpredictable. Traditional leadership, with its emphasis on rigid planning and long-term predictability, struggles to navigate this fluid landscape. The Guerilla CEO, however, understands that survival and success in a disruptive world hinge on the power of agility and adaptability. The illusion of long-term certainty. Why static plans fail. Traditional strategic planning often involves creating detailed, long-term roadmaps based on current trends and projections. While having a vision is essential, clinging rigidly to a fixed plan in a dynamic environment is a recipe for disaster. The very nature of disruption is its ability to render even the most meticulously crafted plans obsolete in an instant. Think of companies that invested heavily in infrastructure or technologies based on long-term forecasts that never materialized. Or consider organizations that were slow to react to sudden shifts in consumer preferences, clinging to their existing product lines despite clear signals of decline. The Guerilla CEO recognizes the illusion of long-term certainty and understands that strategic plans must be living documents, constantly reviewed and adapted in response to new information and evolving circumstances. Agility versus adaptability. Understanding the nuances. While often used interchangeably, agility and adaptability have slightly different nuances. Agility refers to the speed and efficiency with which an organization can respond to changes. It's about being nimble, flexible, and able to make quick decisions and execute them rapidly. Think of a sports team that can quickly adjust its plays based on the opponent's movements. Adaptability refers to the ability to fundamentally change the organization's core strategies, processes, and even its business model in response to significant and lasting shifts in the environment. It's about the capacity for long-term evolution and transformation. Think of a chameleon changing its colors to blend into a new environment. The Guerilla CEO understands that both agility and adaptability are crucial for navigating disruption. You need the speed to react to immediate challenges and opportunities, and the capacity for fundamental change to thrive in the long run. Building an agile organization. Cultivating agility requires embedding certain principles and practices throughout your organization. Decentralized decision-making. Empowering teams and individuals closest to the action to make decisions quickly, without unnecessary layers of approval. Cross-functional teams. Creating teams with diverse skills and perspectives that can collaborate effectively and respond rapidly to challenges. Short feedback loops. Implementing systems that allow for rapid feedback from customers and the market, enabling quick adjustments and iterations. Iterative development. Embracing a build measure learn approach, launching minimum viable products, MVPs, and continuously refining them based on real-world feedback. Flexible resource allocation, having the ability to quickly reallocate resources to capitalize on emerging opportunities or address unforeseen challenges. Embracing technology, leveraging technology to improve communication, collaboration, and the speed of information flow. Fostering adaptability, cultivating a culture of evolution. Adaptability goes beyond just reacting quickly. It requires a fundamental openness to change and a willingness to evolve, a growth mindset. Encouraging a belief that skills and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work, fostering a willingness to learn and embrace new approaches. Continuous learning. Creating a culture where learning and development are prioritized at all levels of the organization. Experimentation and risk-taking. Fostering a safe environment where teams are encouraged to experiment with new ideas, even if there's a risk of failure. Openness to external input. Actively seeking and valuing feedback from customers, partners, and even competitors. Scenario planning and foresight. Regularly engaging in exercises to anticipate future trends and potential disruptions. Strong leadership with vision. Leaders who can articulate a clear vision for the future while remaining flexible in their approach to achieving it. Resilience and grit. Building a culture that can bounce back from setbacks and learn from failures. The Guerilla CEO is the Chief Adaptability Officer. The Guerilla CEO plays a crucial role in fostering both agility and adaptability within their organization. They must model agility, demonstrate the ability to make quick decisions and adjust their own strategies in response to new information. Champion change. Clearly communicate the need for adaptation and inspire their teams to embrace it. Empower experimentation. Create a culture where experimentation is encouraged and failure is seen as a learning opportunity. Remove obstacles. Identify and eliminate bureaucratic processes and rigid structures that hinder agility and adaptability. Continuously scan the horizon. Stay informed about emerging trends and potential disruptions, and proactively communicate these insights to the team. Lead with calm in the storm. Provide stability and direction during times of uncertainty, fostering confidence and resilience within the organization. Turning uncertainty into opportunity. While uncertainty can be daunting, the agile and adaptable organization sees it not just as a threat, but also as a fertile ground for opportunity. By being able to react quickly and evolve strategically, they can capitalize on emerging trends, be among the first to leverage new technologies or respond to shifting consumer needs, outmaneuver slower competitors, gain a competitive advantage by adapting more quickly to market changes, discover new markets and niches, identify and exploit opportunities that arise from disruption, build a more resilient organization, develop the capacity to withstand future shocks and thrive in the long term. In the unpredictable currents of the modern business landscape, the ability to bend without breaking, to pivot with speed, and to evolve with purpose is not just advantageous, it's essential for survival. The Guerilla CEO understands that agility and adaptability are not simply buzzwords, but fundamental capabilities that must be cultivated and nurtured at every level of the organization. By embracing change, fostering a culture of continuous evolution, and leading with a flexible yet focused vision, you can transform uncertainty from a threat into your greatest strategic weapon and not just survive disruption, but thrive within it. Are you ready to build an organization that is truly built to last in a world of constant change? Chapter 7. Zero-based marketing. Maximizing impact with minimal resources. In the traditional marketing playbook, big budgets often equate to big impact. Lavish advertising campaigns, extensive media buys, and celebrity endorsements are seen as the keys to reaching a wide audience and building brand awareness. However, the Guerilla CEO often operates in a reality of limited resources, where outspending the competition is simply not an option. Let's look into the powerful principles of zero-based marketing, a mindset and a set of strategies focused on maximizing marketing impact with minimal financial investment. It's about leveraging creativity, resourcefulness, and unconventional tactics to outsmart, rather than outspend, your competitors and build a strong brand presence without breaking the bank. The illusion of you need to spend big to win. The conventional wisdom in marketing often suggests that significant financial investment is necessary to achieve meaningful results. While budget certainly plays a role, the Guerilla CEO understands that throwing money at a problem doesn't guarantee success, especially in a noisy and increasingly fragmented media landscape. In fact, Large, impersonal campaigns can often be less effective than targeted, creative, and authentic approaches. Think of countless examples of viral marketing successes that cost virtually nothing but captured the public imagination and generated massive brand awareness. Or consider the power of genuine word-of-mouth marketing, which is often far more influential than expensive advertising. Zero-based marketing challenges the assumption that you need deep pockets to make a significant impact. It focuses on leveraging ingenuity and resourcefulness to achieve outsized results with limited financial input. The core principles of zero-based marketing. Zero-based marketing isn't about doing nothing, it's about doing things differently and with maximum efficiency. It's built on several core principles: creativity over capital, prioritizing innovative ideas and unconventional approaches over sheer financial firepower, targeted focus, concentrating efforts on reaching the most relevant audiences through highly specific channels, leveraging existing assets, maximizing the value of your current resources, including your network, your customers, and your content, building relationships, focusing on creating genuine connections with your audience rather than simply broadcasting messages, measurable results, tracking and analyzing the impact of every marketing effort to ensure efficiency and optimize future campaigns, adaptability and experimentation, being willing to try new things, learn from what works and what doesn't, and adjust strategies accordingly. Unconventional tactics for maximum impact, minimum spend. The zero-based marketing arsenal is filled with creative and cost-effective tactics. Content marketing on a shoestring. Creating valuable and engaging content, blog posts, articles, videos, podcasts, that attracts your target audience organically and establishes you as a thought leader. Focus on quality and relevance over expensive production. Social media mastery, beyond paid ads. Building a strong organic presence on relevant social media platforms by engaging authentically with your audience, fostering community, and creating shareable content. Leverage user-generated content and participate in relevant conversations. Email marketing done right. Building an email list and nurturing leads with valuable content and personalized communication. Email marketing often offers a high return on investment with minimal direct cost. Search engine optimization, SEO. Optimizing your website and content to rank higher in organic search results, attracting qualified traffic without paying for ads. Public relations and media outreach. Building relationships with journalists and influencers to generate positive media coverage and brand mentions without the cost of advertising. Focus on compelling stories and newsworthy angles. Community building and engagement. Fostering a strong sense of community around your brand through online forums, social media groups, or even in-person events. Loyal communities become powerful brand advocates. Partnerships and collaborations. Teaming up with complementary businesses or influencers to reach new audiences and cross-promote your offerings without significant financial outlay. Referral programs. Incentivizing existing customers to refer new business, leveraging the power of word-of-mouth marketing. Guerrilla marketing tactics. Employing surprising and unconventional marketing stunts that grab attention and generate buzz in unexpected places. Personal networking and relationship building. Leveraging your personal connections and actively building new relationships with potential customers, partners, and influencers. Measuring what matters, ROI-driven marketing. In zero-based marketing, every dollar, or even every minute of effort, must be justified. Tracking and analyzing the results of your marketing efforts is crucial for understanding what's working and what's not. Focus on key metrics that directly correlate with your business goals, such as lead generation, customer acquisition cost, website traffic, and conversion rates. This data-driven approach allows you to optimize your limited resources and continuously improve your marketing effectiveness. The mindset of the resourceful marketer. Successful zero-based marketing requires a specific mindset, resourcefulness. Constantly seeking creative and low-cost solutions. Persistence. Being willing to experiment and iterate until you find what works. Authenticity. Building genuine connections with your audience through honest and transparent communication. Focus on value. Providing real value to your audience through your content, your interactions, and your offerings. Long-term perspective. Understanding that building a strong brand takes time and consistent effort, even with limited resources. The size of your marketing budget doesn't dictate the size of your potential impact. The Guerilla CEO understands that in today's interconnected world, creativity, authenticity, and a deep understanding of your target audience can be far more powerful than simply throwing money at the problem. By embracing the principles of zero-based marketing, leveraging unconventional tactics, and focusing relentlessly on measurable results, you can build a strong brand, reach your target audience effectively, and achieve significant marketing success, even with the most limited of resources. It's time to ditch the outdated notion that you need to spend big to win and unleash the power of resourceful marketing. Chapter 8. Building a tribe, not just a team. Fostering fierce loyalty and shared purpose. In the traditional hierarchical organization, employees are often viewed as resources, individuals hired to perform specific tasks and contribute to the bottom line. While competence and efficiency are valued, true loyalty and deep engagement can be elusive. The Guerilla CEO, however, understands that building a truly disruptive organization requires more than just a team. It demands the cultivation of a tribe, a group of individuals united by a shared purpose, a strong sense of belonging, and a fierce loyalty to the mission and to each other. Beyond transactional relationships. The power of shared purpose. Traditional employment often operates on a transactional basis. Employees exchange their time and skills for compensation. While fair compensation is essential, it rarely ignites the kind of deep commitment that fuels truly disruptive organizations. The Guerilla CEO understands that to build a tribe, you need to tap into something more profound, a shared sense of purpose. When individuals feel connected to a mission that resonates with their values and believe their work contributes to something larger than themselves, their engagement and loyalty skyrocket. This shared purpose becomes the glue that binds the tribe together, providing a powerful intrinsic motivation that goes far beyond financial incentives. It transforms work from a mere job into a meaningful endeavor. Think of companies with strong social missions or those tackling significant global challenges. Their employees often exhibit extraordinary levels of dedication and loyalty because they believe in the impact of their work. The Guerilla CEO, regardless of their specific industry, must articulate a compelling vision and clearly communicate how each individual's contribution aligns with that larger purpose. Cultivating a sense of belonging. Building a tribe identity. A tribe is defined by a strong sense of belonging and shared identity. This goes beyond simply having a company culture. It involves actively fostering an environment where individuals feel valued, respected, and connected to their colleagues. Creating this sense of belonging involves shared values. Clearly defining and consistently reinforcing the core values that underpin your organization. These values act as guiding principles for behavior and decision making, creating a common ground for tribe members. Open communication and transparency. Fostering an environment of open and honest communication, where information is shared freely and individuals feel heard and respected. Collaboration and camaraderie. Encouraging teamwork, mutual support, and social interaction among tribe members. Building opportunities for informal connections and celebrating collective successes. Recognition and appreciation. Regularly acknowledging and appreciating the contributions of individuals and teams, reinforcing their value to the tribe. Inclusivity and respect for diversity. Creating an environment where individuals from all backgrounds feel welcome, valued, and empowered to contribute their unique perspectives. Shared rituals and traditions. Developing unique company traditions, celebrations, or even inside jokes that reinforce the tribe's identity and create a sense of shared history. Fostering fierce loyalty. Earning commitment, not demanding it. Loyalty cannot be mandated, it must be earned. The Guerilla CEO understands that fierce loyalty from their tribe stems from a reciprocal relationship built on trust, respect, and genuine care. Earning this loyalty involves leading by example, demonstrating the values and commitment you expect from your tribe. Your actions speak louder than words. Investing in your people, providing opportunities for growth, development, and advancement within the organization. Show that you are invested in their long-term success. Empowerment and autonomy, giving tribe members ownership over their work and the freedom to make decisions. Trusting them to contribute their best. Fairness and equity, ensuring that compensation, opportunities, and treatment are fair and equitable across the tribe. Support during challenges, standing by your tribe members during difficult times, offering support and understanding. Protecting the tribe, creating a sense of security and stability, and demonstrating a commitment to the well-being of the collective. The Guerilla CEO is the tribal leader. The role of the Guerilla CEO in building a tribe transcends that of a traditional manager. They act as a tribal leader, inspiring, guiding, and nurturing their people. This involves visionary leadership, clearly articulating the shared purpose and inspiring the tribe to rally around it. Authenticity and vulnerability, being genuine and approachable, building trust through transparency and even vulnerability. Empathy and understanding, connecting with tribe members on a human level, understanding their individual needs and aspirations. Facilitation and collaboration, fostering communication and collaboration within the tribe, rather than simply dictating orders. Protection and advocacy, championing the needs of the tribe and advocating for their well-being. Storytelling, sharing stories that reinforce the tribe's values, celebrate its successes, and connect individuals to the larger mission. The disruptive power of a united tribe. A team of highly engaged and loyal individuals, united by a shared purpose, becomes a formidable force for disruption. This tribe exhibits increased innovation. Individuals who feel valued and connected are more likely to contribute creative ideas and take risks. Enhanced productivity. Passionate and committed tribe members are more motivated and productive. Stronger resilience. A united tribe is better equipped to weather challenges and setbacks. Exceptional customer service. Employees who are deeply engaged with the mission are more likely to provide outstanding customer experiences. Powerful advocacy. Loyal tribe members become enthusiastic brand ambassadors, spreading positive word of mouth. Attraction of top talent. A strong tribal culture attracts other like-minded individuals who are drawn to the shared purpose and sense of belonging. In the chaotic and competitive landscape of disruption, your people are not just your greatest asset, they are the very foundation of your success. The Guerilla CEO understands that by shifting the focus from managing employees to cultivating a tribe, a community bound by shared purpose, strong loyalty, and a deep sense of belonging, you unlock a level of engagement, innovation, and resilience that traditional organizations can only dream of. Building a tribe is not a soft skill, it's a strategic imperative for any leader seeking to make a truly disruptive impact. Are you ready to move beyond building a team and start forging a powerful, united tribe? Chapter 9, The Art of the Pivot. Knowing when and how to change course. The journey of disruption is rarely a straight line. The initial vision, however compelling, may encounter unexpected roadblocks, market shifts, or simply prove less viable than initially anticipated. Clinging stubbornly to a failing strategy in the face of mounting evidence is a hallmark of traditional leadership inertia. The Guerilla CEO, however, embraces the art of the pivot, the ability to recognize when a change of course is necessary and to execute that change decisively and effectively. The sunk cost fallacy, why we resist change. One of the biggest obstacles to pivoting is the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to continue investing in a failing venture simply because of the time, money, and effort already invested. Traditional leaders can become emotionally attached to their initial plans, making it difficult to admit that a change of course is needed. The Guerilla CEO, while passionate about their vision, maintains a pragmatic and data-driven perspective. They understand that past investments are irrelevant when evaluating future decisions. They are willing to cut their losses and change direction if the evidence clearly indicates that the current path is unsustainable or unlikely to lead to success. Recognizing and overcoming the sunk cost fallacy is the first crucial step in embracing the art of the pivot. Identifying the need for a pivot. Recognizing the warning signs. Knowing when to pivot is just as important as knowing how. Ignoring the warning signs can lead to irreversible damage. Some key indicators that a pivot might be necessary include lack of market traction. Despite significant effort, your product or service is not gaining sufficient adoption or interest from your target audience. Poor customer feedback. Consistent negative feedback regarding your core offering, business model, or value proposition. Changing market dynamics. Significant shifts in the competitive landscape, technological advancements, or evolving consumer behaviors that render your current strategy less relevant. Unsustainable business model. Your current revenue streams are insufficient to cover costs, or your path to profitability is unclear. Emerging opportunities. The identification of a potentially more promising market or business model that aligns with your core competencies and resources. Burnout and disengagement. Your team is losing motivation and energy due to a lack of progress or a sense of futility with the current direction. The Guerilla CEO is constantly monitoring these signals, both internal and external. They foster a culture of open communication where these concerns can be raised and addressed proactively. They understand that early recognition of the need for a pivot significantly increases the chances of a successful transition. Types of pivots. Navigating different strategic shifts. Pivots can take many forms, depending on the specific circumstances. Product pivot. Changing the core functionality, features, or target audience of your product or service. Customer segment pivot. Shifting your focus to a different group of customers. Revenue model pivot. Changing how you generate revenue, for example, from subscription to freemium, or from direct sales to partnerships. Channel pivot. Changing the primary way you reach your customers, for example, from physical retail to online sales. Technology pivot. Adopting a fundamentally different technology to deliver your value proposition. Business model pivot. A more fundamental shift in how your entire business operates and creates value. The Guerilla CEO carefully evaluates the different types of pivots and chooses the one that best addresses the identified challenges and leverages emerging opportunities. Executing the pivot, a strategic roadmap. A successful pivot requires a well-defined plan and careful execution. 1. Acknowledge and analyze. Recognize the need for a pivot and conduct a thorough analysis of the reasons why the current strategy is not working and the potential of alternative paths. 2. Define the new direction. Clearly articulate the new strategic direction, including the revised product, target audience, revenue model, or other key changes. 3. Communicate transparently. Openly and honestly communicate the reasons for the pivot and the new direction to your team, investors, and other stakeholders. Address concerns and build buy-in. 4. Reallocate resources. Shift your resources, financial, human, technological, to support the new strategy. This may involve redeploying talent, cutting underperforming initiatives, and investing in new areas. 5. Develop a new roadmap. Create a revised plan with clear milestones and timelines for executing the pivot. 6. Iterate and learn. Treat the new direction as an experiment. Continuously monitor key metrics, gather feedback, and be prepared to make further adjustments as needed. 7. Maintain momentum and morale. Pivoting can be disruptive and unsettling. Focus on maintaining team morale, celebrating early wins, and keeping everyone aligned with the new vision. Avoiding common pitfalls of pivoting. While pivoting can be a lifeline, it also carries risks. Some common pitfalls to avoid include pivoting too late, waiting until the situation is dire before making a change, pivoting without a clear direction, making impulsive changes without a well-defined alternative strategy, lack of communication, failing to clearly communicate the reasons for the pivot and the new direction, leading to confusion and resistance, insufficient resource allocation, Not dedicating the necessary resources to support the new strategy. Abandoning too quickly. Giving up on the new direction before it has a chance to gain traction. Losing sight of the core vision. Pivoting should be a change in how you achieve your vision, not necessarily a complete abandonment of it. The Guerilla CEO's mindset towards pivoting. The Guerilla CEO views pivoting not as a sign of failure, but as a demonstration of agility, adaptability, and strategic thinking. They embrace the iterative nature of innovation and understand that the initial plan is often just the first hypothesis. They are data-driven, relying on evidence rather than emotion to inform their decisions about pivoting. Decisive, acting quickly once the need for a change is identified. Communicative, keeping their team and stakeholders informed throughout the process. Resilient, viewing pivots as learning opportunities and bouncing back from setbacks. Visionary, maintaining a clear long-term vision while being flexible in the short-term tactics. In the unpredictable terrain of disruptive innovation, the ability to pivot strategically is a superpower. The Guerilla CEO understands that clinging stubbornly to a flawed plan is a far greater risk than admitting the need for change and adapting accordingly. By cultivating a data-driven mindset, communicating transparently, and executing decisively, you can navigate the inevitable twists and turns of the disruptive journey, turning potential setbacks into opportunities for growth and ultimately reaching your destination, even if the route looks different than you initially imagined. Are you ready to embrace the art of the pivot and steer your organization towards success, no matter the obstacles? Chapter 10. Strategic Partnerships. Leveraging external strengths for internal gains. In the resource-constrained world of the Guerilla CEO, going it alone is often a recipe for slow growth and limited impact. While internal strengths and organic development are crucial, the ability to strategically leverage the strengths and resources of external partners can be a powerful accelerant for achieving disruptive goals. Beyond transactional relationships. The power of synergy. Traditional business often views external entities as either customers, suppliers, or competitors. Strategic partnerships, however, transcend these simple categories. They are about creating synergistic relationships where the combined strengths of both parties create a value greater than the sum of their individual parts. This synergy can manifest in various forms, such as shared resources, access to new technologies, expanded market reach, or enhanced brand credibility. Think of successful collaborations like Starbucks partnering with Barnes & Noble to embed coffee shops within bookstores, or Apple collaborating with Nike to integrate fitness tracking into their devices. These partnerships weren't just about selling more products, they were about creating a more compelling and integrated customer experience that neither company could have achieved on its own. The Guerilla CEO understands that identifying and cultivating these synergistic relationships can unlock significant growth opportunities. Identifying the right partners. Aligning goals and strengths. Not all potential collaborations are created equal. Choosing the right strategic partners is crucial for maximizing the benefits and minimizing the risks. The Guerilla CEO approaches partner selection with careful consideration, looking for alignment in several key areas, shared vision and values. Partners should have a compatible long-term vision and operate with similar ethical principles. Complementary strengths. Identify partners whose capabilities and resources fill gaps in your own organization and vice versa. Mutual benefit. The partnership should offer clear and tangible benefits to both parties, creating a win-win scenario. Cultural compatibility. While not always essential, a degree of cultural alignment can facilitate smoother collaboration and communication. Strategic fit. The partnership should align with your overall strategic goals and contribute to your disruptive ambitions. Trust and transparency. A strong foundation of trust and open communication is essential for a successful long-term partnership. Types of strategic partnerships for Guerilla growth. The landscape of potential strategic partnerships is vast. Here are some key types that Guerilla CEOs can leverage. Distribution partnerships. Collaborating with companies that have established distribution networks to reach new markets or customer segments. Technology partnerships. Partnering with companies that possess complementary technologies or expertise to enhance your product or service offering. Marketing and co-branding partnerships. Jointly marketing your products or services to each other's audiences, leveraging shared brand equity. Content partnerships. Collaborating on the creation and distribution of valuable content to reach a wider audience and establish thought leadership. Supply chain partnerships. Working closely with suppliers to optimize efficiency, reduce costs, and ensure a reliable flow of resources. Research and development partnerships. Jointly investing in R&D to accelerate innovation and share the risks and rewards. Strategic alliances. More formal agreements to collaborate on specific projects or initiatives, often with shared ownership or governance. Acqui-hires and strategic acquisitions. Acquiring smaller companies primarily for their talent or technology, rather than their existing business. Structuring successful partnerships, defining roles and responsibilities. Once the right partner is identified, clearly defining the roles, responsibilities, and expectations of each party is crucial for a smooth and productive collaboration. This involves clear agreements. Establishing formal agreements that outline the scope of the partnership, the responsibilities of each party, intellectual property rights, revenue sharing, if applicable, and exit strategies. Defined communication channels. Establishing clear lines of communication and regular touch points to ensure effective collaboration and information flow. Shared goals and metrics. Defining joint objectives and key performance indicators, KPIs, to track the success of the partnership. Dedicated relationship management. Assigning individuals or teams to manage the partnership and ensure its smooth operation. Flexibility and adaptability. Recognizing that partnerships may need to evolve over time and being willing to adapt the terms and structure as needed. Navigating the challenges of partnerships. Strategic partnerships, while powerful, are not without their challenges. Potential pitfalls include conflicting priorities. Differences in strategic goals or operational priorities can lead to friction. Communication breakdowns. Poor communication can result in misunderstandings and inefficiencies. Cultural clashes. Significant differences in organizational culture can hinder collaboration. Power imbalances. One partner may exert undue influence, leading to resentment or an unequal distribution of benefits. Loss of control. Partnering can involve relinquishing some degree of control over certain aspects of your business. Integration issues. Combining processes, systems, or teams from different organizations can be complex. The Guerilla CEO proactively addresses these potential challenges through careful partner selection, clear communication, well-defined agreements, and a focus on building a strong and mutually beneficial relationship. The Guerilla CEO is the master connector. The Guerilla CEO recognizes the power of connection and actively seeks out opportunities to forge strategic alliances. They are opportunistic, constantly scanning the landscape for potential partners who can accelerate their goals. Collaborative, approaching partnerships with a mindset of mutual benefit and shared success. Strategic, carefully evaluating potential partners based on alignment with their overall vision. Relationship-oriented, investing time and effort in building strong and trusting relationships with their partners. Creative, thinking outside the box to identify unconventional partnership opportunities. In the quest for disruptive growth with limited resources, strategic partnerships are not just a helpful tactic, they are a powerful force multiplier. By intelligently leveraging the strengths and networks of others, the Guerilla CEO can achieve far more than they could on their own. The art lies in identifying the right partners, structuring mutually beneficial collaborations, and nurturing those relationships for long-term success. Don't be afraid to look beyond your own four walls. The key to unlocking your next level of growth might lie in forging a strategic alliance that amplifies your impact and accelerates your journey towards becoming a true disruptive force.